puisqu'on a parmi nous qui vient d'arriver il y a environ 5 minutes l'unique et le grand monsieur Brian Balmages, que j'aimerais qu'on accueille et qu'on lui donne le micro. Je vais faire une petite introduction. Donc, Mr. Brian Balmages, thank you very much for being with us this afternoon. Everyone can see you there. Does your audio works?
Yes, everything is fine.
All right, so I'll do a short introduction and we'll discuss together. So it's going to be in French. I'm going to do some translation. Donc,
Oui.
on a maintenant la chance. Ah, super, oui. Voilà mon passeport. On a maintenant la chance et l'honneur d'accueillir un compositeur que moi j'apprécie beaucoup dans le monde des orchestres avant. Ses œuvres sont apparues sur le marché depuis le milieu des années 2000 et son nom s'est répandu à une vitesse folle un peu partout et s'est imposé comme partout dans le milieu des orchestres avant par la qualité évidente de ses œuvres. Il y a tout le temps une grande préoccupation pédagogique qui baigne dans un contenu artistique super créatif. Il y a tout le temps un contenu créatif tellement rafraîchissant dans ses œuvres. Il écrit, peu importe s'il écrit pour des points 5 ou des 5, on a tout le temps ces mêmes préoccupations-là, intelligentes et réfléchies. Et même depuis, je dirais, les 10 dernières années, à chaque année, il sort systématiquement une nouveauté qui étonne par le style d'écriture. À chaque fois, je suis comme, ben voyons donc, c'est Brian Balmages qui nous apporte encore plus loin dans sa démarche artistique. Je trouve ça vraiment génial. Et il sort maintenant de 5 à 10 nouveautés par année. Et son carnet de commandes est probablement plein jusqu'en 2070, fort probablement. Là. Il a reçu plusieurs prix de composition. Ses œuvres sont jouées partout à travers le monde. Plusieurs d'entre elles même se retrouvent au syllabus de imposé dans plusieurs festivals en Amérique du Nord. Et François, je suis sûr que tu es d'accord avec moi. Souvent, quand on joue, ça revient quasiment à chaque 2-3 ensembles. Il y a une Brian Balmages qu'on retrouve dans les pièces. En tant que chef d'orchestre, il est appelé à diriger beaucoup de honor bands, des ensembles honorifiques à travers le monde. Il est présentement directeur des publications instrumentales à la compagnie Twigg Musique aux États-Unis. Et on accueille nul autre que, vous pouvez donner la fonction main d'applaudissement ou applaudir, que le grand compositeur, M. Brian Balmages. So, Mr. Balmages, thank you very much for being with us this afternoon. We're truly lucky and happy to share those moments with you. I just introduced you as an incredible, talented composer who always take care of pedagogical elements and the creative-artistic aspect inside every piece. It's always such a refreshing, creative new sound that you bring in every year. I'm going through new releases and I'm like, whoa, what is this piece? What is this color? And then Brian Balmages, I'm like, he always does it. He always goes even further in the artistic, the artistic progression there. And you always surprise us with new original works that explore more and more in terms of orchestration, sound, concepts, and many other aspects. And if I interrupt you sometimes, it's just because I find it interesting to translate what you just said in French for all the other participants there. So welcome among us.
Thank you so much. It's wonderful to be here. And it really means a lot that you mentioned orchestration and development and all those things, because those are things that are very important to me, whether it's a first-year player or a university player. Those are things that I'm always equally important about to make sure that everyone always has the same musical experience.
Si je traduis rapidement, là, vous levez la main, en fait, les gens, quand vous voulez que je traduise, ça va aller mieux. Si je vois qu'il n'y a aucune main levée, je ne traduirai pas. Donc, M. Balmages disait que pour lui, c'était important, justement, que j'ai mentionné l'orchestration parce qu'il se préoccupe de tout ça. Peu importe si c'est débutant, universitaire, semi-pro, que tout le monde ait la même expérience artistique adaptée à son niveau. So, just before going into your piece, can you just mind talking a little bit about your compositional process? Just a little bit, the way you work in general. I know some people ask me these questions often. Maybe some people ask you this earlier. So what is your compositional process?
So very simply, it used to be that I would try to write every piece the same way. And I would always start the same way, whether at the computer. And one day I thought about this and I said, you know, as a performer, we don't warm up the same way every day. Some days we feel really good, some days we feel really bad, and we change our warm-up. And some days I'm very inspired and some days I'm not. And so I change my approach. Sometimes I write at the computer, sometimes I write at the piano, and sometimes I write by hand, which I love. That's my favorite way.
OK. Est-ce que tout le monde a bien compris? Si je n'ai pas de main levée, je laisse ça aller. Comme ça, on évite du temps. On peut passer encore plus de temps avec M. Balmages. And what was that did you have any early inspirations that led you to composition, like to music and composition when you were younger? Some early inspirations, composers, anything?
I always knew I wanted to be in music, but I never knew what. At first, I thought I wanted to be a teacher. Then I thought I wanted to get into recording and learn to be a recording artist.
Okay.
Then while I was doing that, I became very serious on trumpet, and I joined the Miami Symphony on trumpet and played with them. And during that, I got very interested in conducting and was doing a lot of that. And all the time, all the meanwhile, I was writing. I have no composition degree. I never studied composition. I've learned by writing for the groups that I play in.
Oh, OK. Alors, tout le monde a bien compris à propos de justement comment que ça a été, il s'est rendu à la musique, il a joué dans le Miami Symphony et il n'avait jamais pris justement de cours de composition par rapport à ça. C'est vraiment en écoutant et en explorant qui s'est amené à la composition. And my last question before we go in your new releases, is there any part of your compositional process that it's more difficult? Why and how do you get through it?
That's the $1 million question, right? For me, I think sometimes I think the hardest part for me is always understanding where a piece is going, and I get stuck. And I don't know if this happens to you. Your music is fabulous, and it doesn't feel like it, but a lot of times we get stuck and we don't know where a piece is going, and so sometimes I will go for a walk. Sometimes I will listen to a completely different type of piece of music, and maybe something in that will inspire me. And sometimes I skip much further into the piece, much further towards the end of the piece. And once you know where you're going, it's much easier to figure out how to get there. And then the final part of it is sometimes I write a lot of bad music, knowing that it won't stay. But I will write a lot of bad music as a filler music, right? Just to get me to the next point, knowing eventually I will go back, get rid of it all and fix it. But sometimes that is very helpful too.
Ouais, donc super intéressant. J'ai demandé à M. Balmages c'était quoi en tant que compositeur le défi le plus difficile, ce qui est vraiment le plus difficile. Et comme il nous disait, c'est de savoir où est-ce qu'on s'en va. Parce que souvent, on a des idées musicales et d'un coup, on est bloqué. Et ça arrive à tous les compositeurs, ça m'arrive tout le temps. Moi, je m'en vais jouer à un jeu vidéo dans ce temps-là, je fais quelque chose d'autre. Là. Donc, souvent, M. Balmages disait qu'il allait prendre une marche, il allait écouter quelque chose de complètement différent. Et souvent, comme il disait, il s'en allait complètement à la fin de la pièce, parce que ça lui donne une idée d'où est-ce qu'il s'en va. Donc, ça lui permet ensuite de plus voir le cheminement pour mener là. Et il dit que, comme des fois, qui écrivait de la très mauvaise musique, je suis certain que ce qu'il qualifie de très mauvaise musique est de l'excellente musique de toute façon, qui disait qu'il prenait pour faire un filler. Ça veut dire intégrer des fois en deux parties qui sait où est-ce qu'il s'en va, juste pour faire la jonction entre les deux. Donc, c'est super d'entendre un petit peu ce principe-là. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts about your composition process.
Sure.
We're not there to steal your ideas, but it's interesting to hear that.
We are all in this together, right?
Yes, exactly.
It's collaborative. We collaborate.
Exactly. So let's begin. On débute avec une super belle pièce grade 1, donc dans le catalogue 290332, tout le monde, 290332. Un petit grade 1 qui a écrit pour... c'est intéressant, il a écrit cette œuvre-là pour l'harmonie de 5e année dans laquelle son fils joue. Donc, à son école, carrément, c'est tellement un beau cadeau. J'aimerais ça moi aussi, truc de même. Donc, c'est une pièce qui explore les dissonances, les échanges rythmiques. So, for the first selection, a beginning band that you wrote for your son's 5th grade band called Arctic Wars. And I'll let you introduce the piece and tell us about your son's answer, which I laughed very much reading in the program notes that he failed you in the little assignments you asked them to do. So, I'll let you introduce that.
Sure. My son was finishing up his last year in elementary school, and I wrote a piece for them and asked all the students what they wanted it to be about, and came up with, there were a lot of great answers, but my son wrote hot dog versus pizza, and I was so sad. But the piece, Arctic Wars, their mascot is the penguin, and I thought about how when they all finish school, they become an army of people going out into the world and making it a better place. And that's what this piece is all about, is being able to conquer the world in a positive way.
Mm-hmm. So you're gonna start the audio from your side.
Yeah, once I need to be I need to be able to share screen.
co-host, Marie? Okay, just one moment. We forgot to give you the host management, and you're now host.
I
of the
am
Zoom, so
okay.
You can do anything.
Oh,
you can even kick me out.
That's okay. Here we go. This is good. Should be okay. Yes.
No, we don't see any sharing.
Well, why is that? Unless it's a problem. There we go. I'm gonna try it one more time. It should be okay now.
Mais les deux animateurs principaux, Marie. Comme tu as fait pour atelier de lecture, pour partition, toute partie. Ah non, c'est quoi animateur? Tu as raison. It doesn't work. The screen sharing doesn't work.
Is it not because it's far? It worked. You do it yesterday. It worked fine. Everything was working fine.
Let me check something. I'll give you special access right now. Un participant à la fois plus. Okay, try it again now.
Let me see. Let me save that. I'm gonna try it one more time. If not,
we have all the audio files here in the score. So if it doesn't work,
we try it from your side then, because it's saying there's a block. I don't know why.
There's a block there. Let's just check. Marie, tu peux-tu regarder dans les settings, voir s'il n'y a pas un...
Unless you want me to, I can leave and come right back and see if that fixes it.
Yes, maybe really quickly, if you can just leave and back, and we'll give you co-host instantly as you get back with
us. We will try it. Okay, bye-bye.
Sorry for that. It's our third technical problem this morning. Donc, désolé tout le monde, le partage d'écran ne fonctionnait pas parce que M. Balmages veut faire jouer les scores de son côté, les partitions de son côté, et nous montrer les partitions de chef d'orchestre de son côté aussi. Donc, on lui donnait l'accès partage d'écran qui n'a pas eu l'air à fonctionner. Mais on est équipé pour, si jamais ça ne fonctionne pas, on a tout prévu, un plan alternatif. Donc, très intéressant ces réponses au niveau de composition. Je dirais, moi, je ne sais pas si c'est ton cas, François, mais moi aussi, mon défi principal, c'est d'être bloqué. Des fois, j'ai une super bonne idée. Je sais où ce que je m'en vais, là, d'un coup, je me lève un matin, ça ne marche pas. Ou je suis comme. Déjà, j'ai un énorme, comment je faisais ça, critique par rapport à ce que je fais. Là, je suis comme, pourquoi j'ai écrit ça? Des trucs comme ça. Et je ne sais pas pourquoi.
Ah ouais, ben écoute, c'est évident que ça arrive tout le temps. Puis à un moment donné, il faut accepter qu'il y a quelque chose qui est sur la glace, là, tu sais, qui est hop. Puis là, je l'ai dans la tête, ça tourne. Puis je sais pas où je vais, puis j'accepte ça. Puis à un moment donné, hop, la lumière se fait, mais des fois, ça peut prendre des jours, ça peut prendre assez longtemps quand même.
J'ai bien aimé qui mentionne qu'il s'en va à la fin de la pièce, co-host, Marie, qui s'en va à la fin de la pièce pour me donner l'accès au son, qui s'en va à la fin de la pièce pour comprendre où ce qui s'en va. Je fais tout le temps ça, tout le temps ça. Je fais comme, OK, c'est bien parti, mais où est-ce que je veux me rendre? Et ça me donne tout le paysage, comme je m'en vais tout de suite en haut de la montagne, puis là, je vois tout le trajet de randonnée pédestre musicale, si je peux dire. All right, so does it work now, Mr. Balmages?
That's a good question. I do not see it. I don't know why it's not working, but let's just have you do it on your end. Never had this problem. It's very strange. I don't know whether, maybe the coronavirus is so bad in the US that they block us on Zoom too.
Okay, so we'll for the first piece, we'll check again after that. We have every participants have the score in PDF, and we'll share the audio files. If you want to, like us to say, okay, here we can do a fade out, just ask us. We can cut the piece.
Absolutely, and I will tell you, yes.
All right, let's go with Arctic Wars, Rise of the Penguin Army by Mr. Brian Balmages.
One thing I love about the opening of this is the harmony.
Yes.
I always like to push the harmony of a very young band.
So interesting to have those nice dissonances already.
The trombone always doubles the tuba, so you do not need a tuba or a bass clarinet or bass saxophone.
Ouais, super cool ça.
this is something that I do. I layer one thing, another thing,
Yeah.
another.
Really efficient and nice compositional process to do that, and it encourages balance for the kids also. Always interesting elements of tension and nice suspension there right before 30 seconds.
And we can fade out here, Jonathan.
All right, fade off.
One thing I want to point out to all the listeners, it's very important to me that everybody has a good part, but it's also very important to me that we don't follow a cliche of giving everybody a good part. So the low brass had very good parts there, but it's not just a repeat of the melody, it's something new.
Yeah, tout le monde a bien compris ça. C'est super intéressant que M. Balmages s'assure que tout le monde a une partie intéressante à jouer, mais ne veut pas tomber non plus dans le cliché de tout donner à tout le monde tout le temps. Donc, quand les basses sont quelque chose, c'est pas juste une répétition de la mélodie, c'est quelque chose de nouveau, de rafraîchissant. Ils ont leur propre partie indépendante. Ça, c'est super le fun. Let's go now for the second piece. On va aller avec la deuxième pièce. Tout le monde, on a intégré beaucoup dans les nouveautés de M. Brian Balmages. Les versions flex cette année, il a pris de ses anciennes pièces, il en a fait des versions flex dues à la COVID-19, justement, et certains ensembles qui peuvent être réduits. Donc, on enchaîne avec la version flex d'une pièce qui est très jouée et appréciée de Balmages, qui revient très souvent en festival. C'est une des pièces que j'ai entendues le plus souvent, moi, de Balmages, dans les pièces plus gradées, un petit peu plus jeunes. Là. Donc, la pièce Colliding Visions, qui a originellement été publiée il y a 10 ans, en 2010, qui est maintenant disponible depuis cette année en version flexible, 3 parties, interchangeables. So we go now with the flex version of your magnificent piece, Colliding Visions, originally published in 2010. Can you tell us a bit about the piece and why you choose we know why, in fact, you choose specifically this year to do flex versions, but how did you manage to put the flex versions? Because I'll ask you this again later on the more difficult piece. It's harder, but now how did you manage to do that?
Yeah, so, and this is very important. This is not a normal flex piece, not at all. So Colliding Visions, I wrote for a program that had won a music award, but the program was getting cut the same year. So here you have an incredible program, yet their funding was going away. And so I had to write a piece for this group that won a grant. They won an award. And then after they played my piece, the group was being dissolved, gone. So that's the Colliding Visions. And
yes.
with the, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, non, c'est ça, c'est que M. Balmages comptait, et c'est quelque chose qui est très touchant déjà dans l'original, qu'il avait écrit cette pièce-là pour une harmonie, leur avait commandé une pièce, et toute la kit, il était tellement content, ils l'ont fait en concert, et avant même qu'elle soit en concert, la direction a coupé le programme de musique. Donc, quand ils ont fait Colliding Vision au concert, c'était une des dernières pièces, la dernière fois qu'ils faisaient ça, ils venaient de commander une œuvre, donc ça devait être un moment extrêmement touchant là, quand ça a été fait la première.
Now, here's what I want to explain, though. We talk about flex music, which is wonderful, but this is what we call full flex. So not just regular flex, but full flex. And what that means is that it is playable by any combination of instruments, which means you don't have to have a trombone and a clarinet and a flute. If you only have 3 flutes, you can play it. If you only have 3 trumpets, you can play it. You can play it with 2 oboes and a bassoon. So that is very important.
It's like in fact those fantasy books, choose your own path, choose your own adventure.
It's exactly, but now we're doing it with full pieces, right?
C'est vraiment cool. Est-ce que si tout le monde a bien compris, c'est que c'est pas comme les autres flex où ce que tu sais, il te faut c'est un flex genre clarinette ou flûte ou un saxophone ténor ou un. Là c'est flex total. Ça veut dire si vous voulez jouer la pièce à 3 flûtes, ben ça joue. Les 3 flûtes prennent chacune des parties. Fait que c'est vraiment une orchestration dont vous êtes le héros, comme je dis dans les livres, dans nos livres d'enfance de fantasy.
And so what they will see is in this piece, there are 3 parts, which means you can do it with just 3 instruments. there's an alternate, an option for the horn part because it's better ranges, right? We know that the register is better. And then there is a piano part with chords, so you can have a guitar player playing with the chords. And there we include an MP3 of just the piano and percussion so kids can practice at home.
That's nice. You should have called that a total flex version.
Yes, right?
It's like a total flexibility. You have,
Absolutely.
comme disait M. Balmages, il y a une petite partition de corps et de sax ténor ajoutée pour avoir une meilleure orchestration et que les couleurs fonctionnent mieux, surtout au niveau des registres et de la disposition des notes dans l'accord. Et une partition de piano qui peut être faite aussi à la guitare avec les accords même qui sont écrits. Donc, ça donne vraiment une possibilité infinie, peu importe les instruments que vous avez à votre école, de faire ces versions flex-là.
So yeah, please go ahead and listen to how full it sounds. That's what I want you to hear. It does not sound like it's flex.
On écoute.
Also places for people to rest, even in flex.
Yeah, that's interesting. The same contrasts are respected. That's nice.
Yes. And then we'll do just a little bit of this. Piano part, very easy.
Yeah.
So that's good. We can fade out if you want.
We call it fade out.
So just to get, we'll hear other pieces like that here soon.
Yeah.
So we can discuss them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm pretty sure the premiere version of the original piece would have been really a touching moment.
It was very difficult because it was the last piece they ever played, ever.
That's it. That's what I explained to the people there, because the first time I heard the piece, I was, wow, this is a touching moment there. What I find really nice also about those flex version, as any flex, but specifically this, because you can have any flexibility of ensemble, is that the kids will have to play in a chamber style of music playing. And for me, a large concert band, a large ensemble is still chamber music, but in a larger context. So it really gets to train their ear about listening to each other's.
And you know what I love? Let's say you are the teacher who has incredibly talented tuba player or very good bass clarinet player. You can put them on part one, and they can play the same music as the talented other kids.
Oh yeah, ça c'est le fun. Ça c'est vraiment intéressant. Ça donne la chance à tout le monde de pas être juste pris dans son registre habituel. All right, so let's go now with the next piece, la prochaine pièce. On s'en va maintenant dans un grade 2.5 qui est sa nouveauté, Heart of Gold. Donc vous allez voir, c'est un super beau défi rythmique ici puisque la pièce regorge de changements de métrique qui se déroulent principalement en 7-8 et qui contient également beaucoup d'effets de faux 6-8 dans un 3-4, les pan, 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 pan. Donc, vous allez voir, c'est une pièce, encore une fois, j'adore ça pour ça. Moi, je suis un fan pour ceux qui ont déjà travaillé avec moi, qui force les jeunes à compter, à subdiviser, à ouvrir au maximum l'application iCount dans leur tête. Donc, justement, tous les autres aspects de la musique sont un peu plus faciles, je trouve, pour un grade 2.5, pour donner l'accent là-dessus, pour laisser le focus, en fait, à la métrique, à la clarté de la pulsation. So, let's talk now about your piece, Heart of Gold. I was saying that it was a wonderful opportunity to work on counting and subdividing with the students and really focus on that aspect. I think for me, that was one of the main goals of the piece because sometimes, like I was saying, kids are lazy and they don't activate the iCount app in their head when they're playing some music. So just that they have to focus and really count.
Yes. And so the title Heart of Gold, this was written for a band director who had a heart transplant. And eventually it failed, but he taught all throughout that time. And this was his final lesson to the kids. And he passed away the day they premiered this piece. He was in the hospital. So very touching, right? They played the piece. He watched it from his room and he passed away. The reason the 7/8 is because there are not many pieces that teach 7/8 that are playable. All the 7/8 pieces have big ranges, hard melodies. This is very playable. So it's a great way to teach 7/8, and the teachers will see how I even present it at the beginning, so that it's very tuneful, very playable, and very approachable.
Oui, tout à fait. Exactement ce que je disais, tout le monde, c'est que tous les autres éléments de la pièce sont simplifiés un petit peu pour que ce soit un 7/8 abordable, parce que M. Balmages disait que souvent, les 7/8 qu'on avait, c'était des 7/8 avec des gros ranges, des gros registres d'instruments. All right, so do you want us to hear the piece now?
Yes, and I'll tell you where my favorite part is. I'll tell everybody right now.
Right.
My favorite part is when it is in 3/4 time, but it still feels like 7/8 time. It feels like both at the same time because of the accent.
Yeah, in the middle. Yeah. On écoute.
Notice we start 7/8 with percussion, right? Good, safe way to do it.
To establish the pulse. And...
Notice how on the 3 subdivision, you always hear bum, 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 bum. You always hear all the 8th notes. It helps with the time.
Yeah, totally. I like those breaks.
So right when the listener gets tired of 7/8, I walk away, right?
You put the refreshing element instantly. That's very nice. I really love how you play with expectations. I really like that. Like people expect something, and then the 4/4 with a silence for the beat.
Right. You're going this way, and I say no, that way. Now we introduce a fugue. And here it is, 3/4 and 7/8.
Really nice, really nice piece. I enjoy so much the fact, and you do that a lot of time in your pieces, that by the end, there's a huge recap of all the themes superposed to one to each other, and all those layers have their own expressive nature, and it's all mixed up, and it's incredible what it gives like a feel there.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That means a lot.
Yeah. Let's Go Now, on va poursuivre. Donc, Let's Go Now, on revient avec une autre flex, une version flex, Total Flex, en fait, d'un énorme succès de Balmages, une adaptation flexible à 4 parties, cette fois-ci, de sa magnifique pièce Moscou 1941. L'original de cette pièce qui a été publiée en 2006, je vous le dis tout de suite, c'est carrément, personnellement, dans mon top 3 de pièces préférées de tous les temps dans les niveaux débutants. À chaque fois, j'essaie de la faire le plus possible en camp musical, avec des honor bands. Il y a tellement d'éléments pédagogiques dans la pièce et il y a une charge expressive et artistique énorme pour ceux qui l'ont déjà joué. C'est touchant comme pièce pour un grade 2. Tous les moments, c'est de la musique raffinée, de la musique très bien amenée. Et moi, je fais même chanter les jeunes dans cette pièce-là. Si vous l'avez déjà fait, je leur fais chanter l'hymne russe, en fait, de la pièce. So I was saying that we're back on a flexible adaptation of your huge success, Moscow 1941, that you first published in 2006. I was saying also that this piece for me, really sincerely, is one of the easily in my top 3 pieces for young band. Easily, every time I'm doing a honor band, I'm conducting in a band camp, with that level, I bring this piece for sure, because there's a huge expressive and artistic content mixed with the teaching elements in the piece. And I make all the students sing the Russian hymn before we start the piece and everything. It's incredible how touching and expressive this piece is.
Thank you. And what I love about this is that now it is available to any ensemble, right? Woodwind ensemble, brass ensemble, saxophone ensemble, oboe ensemble, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anything. And it gives them the opportunity. What I would think would be nice is maybe we could play just the last minute of the piece, because I think everybody knows this piece, but maybe to play the last minute so people can hear that even though only 4 parts, it still has the big sound.
Yeah. Et d'ailleurs, j'encourage, comme disait, on va partir vers la dernière minute de la pièce parce que tout le monde devrait la connaître. Si vous ne la connaissez pas, je vous en prie, allez l'écouter. L'original aussi, et même peut-être les 2 versions, c'est une très, très belle pièce dans ce niveau-là pour un grade 2. Donc, on va commencer. You want us to start by which bar?
Oh, it doesn't matter. I think we should start, we'll start somewhere around measure 85 or so.
Okay,
I think it'll be good, but we'll as soon as it starts, I will tell everybody where we are.
Okay. Yeah, you know the piece, obviously. Donc, je ne sais pas si tu peux partir vers 1 minute de la fin environ, Alex. Mesure 80, 72, 85.
So we are on page 11, measure 72. Here's measure 80.
Très bien fait. We really still have the sound, the big the sound effect. Yes, really nice. Again, it's one of my favorite young piece band. There's so much thing to teach and to share artistically and expressively with the kids in this piece.
Well, thank you.
Donc, voici maintenant une nouveauté de type vraiment éclatante, super enjouée et magnifiquement orchestrée ici, To Dance Among the Stars. So let's go now with your joyful, colorful, sparkling, and I should say, wonderfully orchestrated. I like so much your orchestration, but in this piece, there's so much subtleties everywhere. To Dance Among the Stars.
Yes, this was a piece that I think all of us as musicians have high points and very low points. And I had recently lost my father and had been going through a very difficult time. And this is when I finally emerged from that. And
after breaking point.
Yes. And I wanted to write a piece that was about pure joy and what it would be like to feel like you were just floating in the sky, dancing without a care in the sky, and all surrounded by stars, almost kind of like Avatar with all the lights around you, the movie, right?
Yeah. And by the way, I'm really sorry because I skipped two pieces. We'll go back right after that
That's fine.
in my document. I just realized I skipped Arith-Metric and Blue Ridge. We'll come back right after that. Sorry.
That's fine. And so this piece, very celebratory, very good as an opener, also very good as a closer. It works very, very well. And we'll skip around just a little bit.
All right. Donc, To Dance Among the Stars, désolé tout le monde, on est rendu déjà un grade 3. On va revenir ensuite avec les pièces un peu plus grade 2, grade 2,5. There's already so much to think to work in just in the ta ba pa 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 pa.
Absolutely.
Yes, just about that little quarter note there and how to really achieve the style. There's obviously a floating, flying effect.
Right.
Really well done, this passage. It's really well written.
And tambourine really helps keep the pulse moving. Otherwise, they're going to slow down here.
A lot of counterpoint elements also.
Jonathan, I married a flute player. She's my wife. Always have to have flute solos.
Yeah. So it means I should write more trombone solos on my part. I married a trombone player.
I want everybody to hear the textures here. Some of my most creative writing right here.
Yeah, harmony. Incredible. More and more on the last years, you have those kind of polytonality moments and extended chords moments. So well done.
And right now, this is all about space.
Beautiful chords.
You hear the euphonium against the trombone. I love that.
Mm-hmm. This nice ninth there.
Mm-hmm. Directors should not worry about the rhythm here. That everybody worries. It's meant to be obscure.
Yeah.
And right here, the tension is huge.
the build-up of that slow section is incredible.
And we can fade whenever you would like to.
On peut fader, Alex. Merci beaucoup, Alex.
Yeah.
Alexandre Terrien à la technique audio. So, yes, incredible work. I was saying that the build-up of this nice slow section with all this really imaginative space colors is really nice. And I enjoy so much those dissonance harmonies that you use more and more and more in many pieces, and especially later in Pixelated World that we're going to hear later. It's so interesting. Donc voilà, et on revient maintenant, on revient de 2 pièces en fait. Dans les pièces, on va arriver à un concept super intéressant qui initie nos élèves à la musique minimaliste et aléatoire. C'est une pièce qui s'inspire en fait de la pièce proposant un petit peu le même concept. C'est un peu sa suite en fait. C'est la pièce In C de Terry Riley qui s'est inspirée. Ici, on a Arith-Metric numéro 1 qui comporte 5 sections qui évoluent selon le moment. Pour n'importe quelle combinaison aussi d'instruments. Et c'est les élèves, il y a 5 sections, c'est les élèves, après avoir sauté de partie en partie, qui décident avec un cue du chef quand passer à la prochaine section. Extrêmement intéressant. Let's talk about your new Arith-Metric number 1, the follow-up pieces to Terry Riley's In C.
Yes, and I heard you mention a lot of that, which is great. And yes, so this piece, there is no score. There is no score. The part is the score. What I love about this is you can play this with 2 instruments or 200 instruments. Yeah. It doesn't matter. And the students choose which cell they want to play and how long they want to play it. They can go 1 ahead. They can jump 5 ahead. The only rule is they have to stay in the same section. And the conductor then tells them when to shift. But I love the way the piece develops. It's a lot of fun. Maybe we can listen to maybe the first minute and a half or so. Or maybe the first minute and then jump to the end so that everybody can hear how it ends.
But so each student decide the pacing they want to go through a section. Is that it?
Yeah, and maybe a student starts in 1 and then they jump to 5 and then they jump back to 2. And then they stay on 2 for a while. And maybe you have one player who's not very good and all they can play is 1 or 8 or 9. That's okay.
And every time, what is really interesting, c'est qu'à chaque fois que vous faites la pièce, c'est jamais le même résultat. Ça, c'est intéressant. Every time this piece will be performed, it's never exactly the same piece.
Right.
It's always something interesting. And sometimes I was imagining some things when I was hearing that, say, oh, it can create incredible moments if everyone really dive into the piece. Donc, si tous les jeunes vraiment jouent le jeu, ça peut donner des moments incroyables en concert. On va écouter la première section, qui est la section 1.
Here's 6.
Yeah.
Now here's section 2, right? You say section 2.
Here. Every section has a different feel also, even if it's the same thing going on.
So I don't know, you want to skip to maybe the last minute or so?
Yes, on pourrait aller à la dernière minute, Alexandre, s'il vous plaît. Section 5. Ouais. It's always a different mode. It's really nice.
Just more and more, right?
The whole scale.
So a good idea of that.
Exactly like the NC. We finish with a chord at the end. Everyone goes home. Yeah, that's nice. So as time is going through, let's go for the last pieces. So in fact we can maybe only speak about it, the Blue Ridge Reel, if you want, or if you want us to listen, it's your choice.
Why
It's
don't
a
we
flex.
do this? I wouldn't mind listening to the last maybe 1 minute, and that is it. Because the recording of this is of Jose Cibaja, the principal trumpet of the Boston Brass.
Oh, okay.
He recorded all the parts for me on trumpet. So this is only trumpet and the percussion, and that is it. So I want them to hear what it sounds like with just trumpet.
C'est ça. Donc, c'est ça. On va écouter la version flex de Blue Ridge Reel. Et cette fois-ci, ben, c'est un trompettiste professionnel qui a fait toutes les voix. Donc, on peut entendre ce que ça donne. C'est juste des trompettes. Et c'est donc une pièce un petit peu plus, vous allez voir, Bluegrass original. On va écouter ça, voir. On fera un fade.
That's good. That's good. We can go down if you want.
No,
I wanted people to hear, right? I wanted them to hear, okay, does it really sound good with just 4 trumpet players and no bass line? I want them to hear that.
Yeah, it's really interesting because now we have a perfect example
Right.
there. And let's go. Non, on va aller maintenant avec une œuvre très touchante pour les 3-4 dernières œuvres, là, une œuvre très touchante qui est vraiment en contraste avec l'œuvre précédente. Donc, écrite suite au décès d'un policier en service à New York, qui est en plus un mari de la cousine de M. Balmages. Donc, it's a huge, let's go with a huge contrast with the previous piece. Let's go with a very moving and expressive piece, Miles of Blue. Donc, a very touching new work. Every year, you always bring one of those special, very personal, emotional piece. And I've had the same feeling last year when with your new release, your incredible Breaking Point. Breaking Point was so touching. I remember we were at the reading session last year, and we're all touched by the piece. So now, Miles of Blues.
This piece was written for my cousin, a very close cousin, and her husband was NYPD, and he was killed in line of duty saving other people. And I wrote what it was like to be in the funeral parade, going from the funeral home to the church. Over 20,000 police officers showed up that day to salute us as we drove by. And it was one of the most powerful, emotional things I've ever been a part of. You see it on TV, but you don't realize what it feels like until you're in it.
Tout le monde a bien compris. Pas besoin de traduire. Il disait qu'il décrivait la parade un petit peu, l'effet que ça fait d'être en parade funéraire. Fait qu'on va entendre, vous allez voir, même dans la pièce, il y a des moments où on est carrément dans la parade. Là. On peut y aller? I really enjoy all the glockenspiel things. It's fragility moments and.
So many moments here for expression, right?
Yeah.
The NYPD created a video that we showed during this.
Okay.
It was very powerful. And we should mention at the end of this, there are people surrounding the audience playing taps. I would suggest maybe hearing the last minute because I would love for people to hear the taps and where we go with that.
Yeah. Voilà la dernière minute, s'il vous plaît, Alexandre.
People are in the audience. The audience is surrounded by triangles.
Yeah, really nice effect, touching effect at the end of the pieces. Wonderful expressive piece, Mr. Balmages. It's really. I can just imagine now the live effect of this piece, and it's. I'm really,
especially
really
if people use the video. There's a recording on YouTube. You can find it of me playing it with the video.
Okay. Wow. Okay, let's go with the three last pieces. Time is going on. The first one. La prochaine pièce, donc une de mes top 3 de toutes les nouveautés cette année, je vais vous dire très honnêtement, une superbe nouveauté qui provoque et qui dérange par son monde harmonique et mélodiquement super dissonant et par son propos, la pièce Pixelated World. Et c'est une espèce de critique en fait de notre dépendance aux écrans numériques, aux cellulaires, l'espèce de dépendance qu'on a même en société, au restaurant, de tout le temps regarder nos écrans. So your next work is easily, what I was saying, one of my top 3 new releases of all works this year. An incredible work that provokes and gives us beautiful dissonant harmonies and melodic lines. I'm a huge fan. And not checking on the phone. A work that also makes us think and analyze some behavior like we all have with our many cell phones, tablets, digital gadgets, especially when interacting with each other in restaurants or in honor bands and rehearsals. So I'll let you go.
I just wanted to write a piece. It was very important to me to highlight how dependent we are on screens. And what parents, parents are watching the concert and they're doing this, right? With the phone up in the air. So I wanted to make students aware how much they depend on their phones and use this as a way to bring open the discussion to get them away from them.
Mm-hmm. And I really enjoy the sound world of the piece. There's something anguish in it, something really that we feel inside that tells a lot. Donc on peut écouter le début de Pixelated World et la fin. There's already an element of pixels there.
Mm-hmm. So that's phasing, right? Phasing in and back out. Bass clarinet phasing.
They're all layered.
Then I love doing this. I take an old idea and I make it something new.
Yeah. the artistic feeling of the piece is perfect there for what it conveys.
Thank you. So we can listen for a couple, however much longer you want to get to the next one. It's okay.
In fact, it's your call to jump by the end. We have about 5 minutes left for the whole.
Yeah, I think we can jump ahead.
Yeah. Est-ce qu'on peut aller jumper un petit peu plus loin, Alexandre? Merci.
The peak of it, right here.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, back to nothing.
Again, those really nice dissonance.
And then it ends with phasing.
Yes.
And then
fifths by the end.
Yeah.
Really interesting piece there. Really interesting piece.
Thank you.
We have a few minutes left, really, because we have 11 pieces. So let's go really quickly with Pride of the Clipper and then talk about Super EM Powers after that. Donc, la pièce Pride of the Clipper, c'est une pièce qui a été commandée pour célébrer le 10 ans d'une harmonie senior au Maryland, en fait. Une pièce grandiose avec une orchestration qui nous rappelle beaucoup l'écriture de bandes sonores de musique, de films héroïques. La pièce Pride of the Clipper. Vous allez voir, même si elle est vraiment festive, glorieuse, il y a de la polytonalité super bien ficelée. So I was saying that this piece was commissioned to celebrate the 10th anniversary of community band in Maryland. We have a lot of community bands here also in Quebec.
Sure.
The piece is very grandiose with an orchestration and writing style that sometimes bring us some like epic movie scoring elements, I should say. And there's also a very nice central passage with polytonality and tension before going at the end.
Absolutely. Do you want to start, a little bit into the piece, or maybe the last minute and a half or so we can jump to the last one?
The last, yes, very good. La dernière minute, effectivement, super bonne idée. Thank you very much.
This is where everything in the piece comes together. It's very exciting.
Yeah. Really nice, a nice fanfare and really epic piece there. I would like to hear Brian talk about Thrill Ride, his inspiration. On va juste terminer, Cindy, avant de présenter sa dernière petite pièce, puis on pourra mentionner ça, parce qu'on a aussi à court de temps, on avait 11 pièces. Là. Donc, la dernière pièce de Balmages, très spéciale, parce c'est un grade écrit pour harmonie ou orchestre symphonique. C'est vraiment intéressant. C'est une orchestration encore dont vous êtes le héros. Ça va bien avec le titre, Super EM Powers. Le propos de la pièce est vraiment génial. Ça concerne directement nos élèves avec besoins particuliers, si on peut dire. Je laisse Balmages nous l'expliquer. Donc, so your last piece is a wonderful choose your adventure, or should I say choose your orchestration piece again, concert band orchestra. The title and purpose of the piece is very interesting. If you could tell us about it.
Yes, so this was a piece written for United Sound, and it was all about students who learn differently, right? Whether these are students who have autism, or students with Down syndrome, or students who don't speak, or have anxiety. And it's all about celebrating them. And it's about how all of them have superpowers, right? They have a superpower. And so I wrote a superhero theme for them. And this whole piece is one big superhero theme.
Yeah. Yeah, for the whole piece. And how did you choose the fact to do it, orchestra or concert band?
I really wanted to do it originally for orchestra. It's originally for full orchestra. And I knew that was going to have a lot of strings on the stage. And so I did that. And then what I did was I went back and I took care of all of the string parts in the saxophones and the euphonium. So it works absolutely fine for full band, but it works extraordinarily for full orchestra.
Yes, yes. So let's listen from the beginning.
Or we can do like the last 2 minutes if they want to hear that. It's up to you.
Yeah, okay, it's for you. So the last 2 minutes.
I'll tell you everybody where we are.
All right.
We're on page 20. Measure 109. And remember, no strings are required. None at all. This feels like Superman, yes?
Yeah. With the nice rhythmic accompaniment there. Music scoring here. Le fade out,
So you get the idea,
right.
but
yes,
very powerful and
yeah, epic heroic scoring also, like Superman, like you were saying.
It was very fun. Matter of fact, I listened to a lot of movies before I wrote this because I really wanted to get it right.
Nice. Hey, just before we leave, there's a little question from Cindy Gagne, which is with us. I would like to hear Brian talk a little bit about your Thrill Ride inspiration for Thrill Ride.
Absolutely. Thrill Ride, it was a piece that, every summer I go on vacations with my children. Not this summer, but most summers. And my one son really loves to ride roller coasters, and I wanted to try to capture the feeling from waiting in line for the roller coaster all the way up until the sound of the lift hill, which is as you're going up, and then going down. And I wanted to capture that. It's like a roller coaster soundtrack.
Yeah. Donc, ça répond à ta question, Cindy, tu as bien entendu sur son inspiration. So, Mr. Balmages, thank you so much for your time and your generosity for being with us. And sorry for a little rush pushing to your piece, because 11 pieces is a lot to put in 1 hour. It was a pleasure to have you with us. We can all give a nice applause in the Zoom section. I hope we'll have the chance to work with you again in Quebec, in Montreal, here in the Quebec provinces, and to work with you as a conductor, as a composer, with workshops, clinics. There's always something so refreshing in your music. Donc, merci beaucoup pour la participation. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. And I do want to just say, I appreciate everything that you have done, that Twigg has done. It's very important that the teachers know that companies like Twigg are so important because they come to your school and they help you with your instruments. They help you with everything that you need. And so I really encourage everybody to support the local the local music retailers like Twigg, because they're the ones that make this happen, and I'm very grateful for them. So thank you.
Yes, and thanks to you. And again, it was a pleasure to be with you. And thanks for the kind words at the end that you just said about Twigg. They will really appreciate that also. Merci
Absolutely.
beaucoup.
Thank you all.
Have a good day.
You too.
Donc, et voilà, merci tout le monde. Il y avait 11 pièces, hein, c'était quelque chose à faire passer en 1 heure maximum, là.